Hello, this is part two of the Russia update for the Uncensored Library. There was a part one that came out on before this one. Feel free to go watch that. We are going to be getting into the second book. The Battle is Not Won by Alexander Sokolov. On the turn of the 1980s and the 1990s, hundreds of millions of people from the so-called Socialist Commonwealth were freed from totalitarian ideological censorship in just a few years. At the same time, on the other side of the planet, the bloody war dictatorships of Latin America were disappearing one by one. But the dire system failure in continental China, where the democratic movement was violently defeated, it seemed that freedom of speech was close, and the freedom of sharing and receiving valuable public information would soon triumph. Freedom simply didn't have serious rivals. Freedom of expressing one's opinions, the freedom of criticizing any social institution or value was starting to be considered something inherent and irrevocable, like the right to breathe air. This couldn't be tampered with. We were too complacent and careless. Those who feared freedom didn't go anywhere. Those who were more comfortable with the government deciding what they can listen to, what they can watch, what they can write, they should think, were just in hiding. The people who dreamt of silencing their opponent were just biding their time. The enemies of freedom are masters of imitation. Sometimes they take the form of the most ardent progressivists. In a world that gave to man the idea of freedom of speech and thought itself, the most ridiculous ideological prohibitions are multiplying in the name of tolerance or political correctness. In the name of combating hate, people are seduced by the illusion of making our society kinder by banning hateful speech, but tolerance towards other people's views begins with being tolerant to those who can't accept a different point of view. Remember, be tolerant of other people, but be intolerant to intolerance. Most post-Soviet republics descended into hybrid of authoritarianism with different degrees of violence, political repression, and government control of information. In Russia, scruple bearers are determined to end the disarray of the 90s. They are dragging us into a totalitarian past with an imposed uniform pattern of thinking and sacralized government and taboo historical myths. For now, they don't dare to impose an altogether ban on expressing any opinions differing from the official one, as have done in the past totalitarian regimes. But throughout Putin's rule, a large legislative base was built, allowing the government to ban any form of free speech at their liking, wherever and whenever they find it necessary. The repressive and prohibitive laws that were put into place in Russia in the last few years are not applied massively to their full extent, but more selectively and demonstratively. But it seems to be enough for most public figures and media to keep quiet and self-censor, and for free speech to be pushed into a marginalized ghetto. The so-called big media, TV in particular, find themselves completely dependent on the government and transformed into a weapon of unbridled, aggressive, and deceiving propaganda. Based on unapologetic lies, new censors turned out to be quite inventive in creating various partial barriers on the way to spreading information outside of the government channels. Each of these barriers seemed unimportant, uncritical, and bypassable, but together they formed the net that the Lilliputians use to trap Gulliver. The last innovation of the Russian government in that field is a ban on copying materials from media that aren't officially registered on Russian territory. The violation of this law is punished with strict fines. The blind hope that new information technology, especially the internet, will make government control over spreading information impossible turn out to be ill-advised. Every form of technology is a double-edged sword. It could be used for bypassing government control just as much as it could be used for reinforcing it. The never-ending race of the sword and the shield, the missile and the armor has been reignited. In fact, an old Cold War time duel between Western radio stations broadcasting in Russian and Soviet jamming facilities resumed. On one hand, there are internet blocking technologies. On the other, there's technology for bypassing the blockage. Totalitarian China shows how we can use modern technology for reinforcing and all-assuming control over people. It's violently growing its power and starting to dictate its rules of censorship to the free world. We shouldn't lean back and consider the fight for freedom just won because Free societies are more effective and well-adjusted, simply because the ideological control of the people of a post-industrial civilization would turn out to be impossible in itself. The victory of freedom won't come by itself. We have to fight for it.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to talk to me outside of this video, outside of live streams, or just join the community and be a part of it, you can do so at HIMediaTV/Discord. Discord links there. We'd love to have you. And given the financial situation of the economy right now, I know this is a tall ask, but if you have the scratch to spare, please consider donating and becoming a supporter at HIMedia.gg/tip. All of our perks are serviced through our Discord channel, including early access videos, exclusive videos, and more. Your generosity is a blessing, and $1 a month is a boon to my mental health. Thank you so very much for watching. I appreciate you, and have a great day.